Hello, you guys. Welcome back to Rebuilding and Recovery. My name is Tracy, and I am a recovering addict and a therapist. Rebuilding and Recovery is where I share my recovery journey and my top tips for building success after addiction. You guys can read more about my story down below. You can also connect with me on my other platforms. I have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Patreon. I think that's it. Or you can just stick with me here. I have new videos coming out every Saturday. But today I want to talk to you guys about something really important. I want to talk to you about relapse. I've been clean from heroin addiction for over 8 years now, almost 9. I actually went for years and years in my early recovery where I was not triggered at all. My most triggering time in my whole entire recovery, a point where I almost legitimately relapsed, came at about 6 years in. So I think that it's really common for a lot of people to get some clean time under their belt and for them to say, I'm good now. I don't ever want to hear I'm good now from anybody because addiction is sneaky. It doesn't matter if you have 1 week clean or 10 years clean. If you see a certain trigger, your brain can go flying back to your old self and it will remember everything and it will want to take you back there. But the good thing is that relapse actually starts to occur a long time before we actually get high. There are 3 stages of relapse. And if we are able to catch ourselves in that first stage, then we have a much higher chance of stopping ourselves from going down that road again. I mean, you guys already know that once you start thinking about using, once you get it in your head that you want to do it, it's already too late. It's already game over. So when it comes to relapse, prevention is definitely key, not letting yourself get to that point in the first place. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. I want to tell you guys the 3 stages of relapse. I want to tell you guys how you can recognize when you are in stage 1 so that you can stop yourself from going down the wrong path again. I am an absolute tea freak. I use tea now for everything. Like, you know that feeling after you eat dinner and you feel like you want something sweet, like a dessert? Tea. If you feel like you want a cigarette, tea will take that away. If you're sad, tea will take it away. If you're tired, tea will take it away. Tea fixes everything. I love tea. So let me tell you guys also, I want you to know that the 3 stages of relapse do legitimately work. They are accurate. I have utilized this in my own life. Okay, so I know that these can help you too, because what it's all about is recognizing your own patterns, recognizing your own changes in those patterns. Okay, so stage 1 of the 3 stages of relapse is emotional relapse. This is the most crucial stage in my opinion, because this is the stage when you are going to start to notice changes in your patterns, changes in your behaviors. So in stage 1, emotional relapse, we are not actually thinking about using yet. We're not thinking about drugs in any way, but we may be struggling in some way. We might be feeling more emotional right now than usual. We might be experiencing some depression-like symptoms right now. Maybe we've been feeling really stressed out or really overwhelmed. So that's the first step in stage 1, is to recognize those changes in your thought patterns and in your feelings. If you recognize that you've been feeling a little more down lately, a little more stressed, a little more overwhelmed, take a minute and figure out why that is. Additionally, our behavior patterns might begin to change here. So let's say you've been a very healthy person in recovery. You cook dinner for yourself every night. You go to the gym every day. Now, all of a sudden, you've noticed that for the past 2 weeks, you've been skipping the gym almost every other day. You've picked up fast food 3 times this week, and that's just kind of out of character for you. Now, stage 1 can be a little bit tricky because it's very easy to dismiss behaviors and thoughts like those because everybody has down days. Everybody has times where they're picking up more fast food than other times. That doesn't necessarily always mean that you're headed towards relapse. But I think the key here is to do that self-assessment, to check in with yourself and see how you're feeling on a regular basis. I want you to take a look at those emotional and those behavioral changes and really think about where they're coming from. I want to give you an example from when I was about a year into my recovery. My recovery was very strong up until that point. I was not really triggered in any way. I was a single parent. I was working, going to school, and I started to become really stressed out. I started to become really overwhelmed by my responsibilities. And that's normal in early recovery also, because you are going from a high adrenaline, very selfish lifestyle of addiction, and you're going into a brand new lifestyle where you have to live as a responsible adult, and it is drastically different, and it takes time to get used to that. But I was struggling with adapting to that back then. So I was overwhelmed with all of my responsibilities, and So at that time, I started feeling a little more stressed out than usual, a little more overwhelmed. I was snapping at my son. I was not working out regularly, picking up a lot of fast food, like I said. And then when I found myself wanting to actually contact old friends that I used to use with, I was like, whoa, hold up. At that point, I took a deeper look into what was happening. Am I just having an off day? Am I just feeling down today? Or is there something more going on here? You really have to be real with yourself here. So for me, I was able to determine that I am feeling really stressed out by all of my responsibilities as a single parent. I feel like I want a little bit of a release. And once I figured that out, then I decided to make some changes to make my situation better. So I found a babysitter who could watch my son so I could get some self-care time. I got a tutor to make my homework a little easier. I did what I had to do to get myself back into a good place mentally. So really be real with yourself in stage one. Always be checking in with yourself, seeing how you're feeling on a regular basis, and seeing where your emotions and where your changes and your patterns are really coming from. Stage 2 is mental relapse. Now at this point, you are actively thinking about using. You have moved from feeling stressed and overwhelmed. I told you at the end there, I was thinking about contacting old friends that I used to use with. So if I had actually contacted them and moved, or maybe at this point you're thinking about or using other drugs that are not your drug of choice. Maybe you were a heroin addict and now you find yourself drinking every night. Or maybe you find yourself looking into other drugs that were not your drug of choice. Maybe you were a heroin addict and now you find yourself drinking every night. So at this point, you actively have it in your mind that you want to use, you just haven't yet. So if you catch yourself in stage 2 of mental relapse, this is the time for drastic action. If you are a meeting person, go to a meeting right now. Go every single day. Call your sponsor, call your mama, call your best friend, call your preacher, call whoever you want to call, but do not keep this to yourself. That is my biggest piece of advice to you. If you find yourself in stage 2 mental relapse, do not keep it to yourself. Up your support systems in every way that you can. Additionally, if you feel like you are white knuckling it and you are going to relapse at any moment, explore medication, because going onto a medication like Vivitrol or Suboxone is a hell of a lot better than relapsing and going back to jail or prison and ruining your whole life. And lastly, stage 3 is physical relapse. It is the actual relapse. I don't think I have to tell you what happens here. It's pretty self-explanatory. But I do think that I have to tell you that if you do find yourself in stage 3, you have relapsed, it is not over for you. Whatever you do, do not use this as an excuse to keep going. It is so easy to get the F-its and say, it's already too late, I've already ruined my life, I might as well keep going with it. Absolutely not. We're not a lost cause. Even if you did relapse, relapse is a part of the process. Unfortunately, everybody goes through it at some point. We get back on and we do it again, and we do it again, and we do it again until we find our forever recovery. Try something different this time that you haven't tried before. If you've never been to inpatient, try that now. If you've never been to outpatient, try that now. If you've never done a halfway house, try that now. If you haven't tried watching all my videos and following my advice, then try that now. But whatever you do, do not tell yourself that relapse is the end. So to recap, stage 1, emotional relapse, that is where your behaviors and your thoughts start to change. You're feeling a little more stressed, a little overwhelmed. You're not thinking about using yet though. Stage 2, mental relapse, you are starting to think about using. You're maybe contacting old friends, maybe using a drug that's not your drug of choice, or actively planning how you could use without getting strung out again. And stage 3, physical relapse, actual relapse, go for some hardcore support at this point and get back on track. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that this was helpful to you. Share this video with somebody who is in early recovery. Maybe this could be helpful to them in identifying their own tells and signs if they are headed towards relapse. If you could do all those cool YouTube things like, comment, subscribe, that would be awesome. That way you will know when my new videos come out. Also really helps to keep this channel rolling. Also, my ears are always open for topic suggestions. If there is anything that you would like to hear about in terms of recovery, go ahead and drop it down below or send me an email and I will gladly touch on it. Thanks again, you guys, and I will see you next Saturday.